You know, buying a new car tends to be the best day of one's life, at least for me if you're a car guy or car gal, but today is not that great, even though I'm picking up a brand new car. And as you can tell, probably by what's behind me, we're getting our 5th Tesla. Now, before I go into all the details why this has been such a painful process, let me tell you why we're getting a new Tesla. And when I say getting, I don't mean buying, I mean leasing. And at TFL, this will be our 5th Tesla. We've owned a Model 3, a Model X, a Model Y, a Cybertruck, and now we're gonna get another car. And the reason for that is, recently I was on a road trip with my friend, James, whose friend had just purchased a new Model Y. And James said something interesting. He said that his friend in the last 4 months had only driven the car, get this, about 400 miles. In other words, he bought it because he wanted full self-driving supervised. And I thought to myself, you know, this is a solution for many people whose time has come. So we want to do a video series where we figure out whether we can actually drive, or in this case, not drive, a Tesla for 2,000 miles without ever touching the steering wheel. That's why we're calling it Hands-Free 2000. And this right here is the car that we're going to use. This is a brand new 2026 Model Y, and this has got the latest and greatest computer, the latest and greatest version of full self-driving, or at least it will once I subscribe to it. And over the next couple months, we're going to see if we can drive this car exclusively, get this, exclusively without ever touching the steering wheel, without ever touching the brake or accelerator, and more importantly, without ever touching the screen, because now with Tesla's AI, or maybe it's former Twitter's, X's AI, Grok, you can now actually input the address by voice. So you can tell Grok where to take you, and the car hopefully will do that. So we're going to try it in snow, we're going to try it in rain, we're going to try road tripping it, and we're going to have 4 people test the full self-driving of this car over the next 2 months to see if they like it or not. So, buckle on in, and let's go pay for this car, which has also been quite the process. I'll be back as soon as I figure that out. I might have to go to the bank to get a cashier's check because they don't take credit cards, and the app, for some reason, doesn't tie into my bank. Who would have thunk that an app wouldn't work? You would think that leasing a car from the manufacturer would be a lot easier than the typical dealer dance where they keep you in the manager's office for hours figuring out the paperwork. Well, in this case, it wasn't. It was actually quite painful. And the reason is everything has to be done through the Tesla app. And I suppose if you're leasing it as an individual, it might be an easier process. But the problem is, of course, I own this company, and so we lease our cars, we buy our cars through the company, and the company is headquartered in a different place than my house. And so when it came to providing my proof of residency, it turned into quite debacle. Let me show you what I mean. These are the texts I got over the weekend from Tesla every time I tried to upload my proof of residency to the app. And if you look, over a period of 2 days, I think I got something like maybe 20 or 30 texts saying, "Hi Roman, your Model Y financing is conditionally approved. Upload additional documents in the Tesla apps." And then after like the 10th one, I typed back, "I did." And of course it said, "This number is not monitored. Visit Tesla app for support." So it throws you back to the Tesla app. And there were 2 problems. First, it didn't recognize the fact that the company was located in a different place, and then me finding, the fact that I lived in this place, even though I don't, as proof of the primary residence, because when you lease something, even though the company is leasing it, I am still the person who's guaranteeing that lease, so I have to prove that I live at the company address, which of course I don't. So that was a whole debacle. And then the second problem was the insurance. Tesla requires that you have insurance for your car before you pick it up. Now, this is normally not a big deal. I called our insurance company, State Farm, and I said, "Hey, send me proof of insurance." I had the VIN. They sent me the proof of insurance, except the way the State Farm does it in Colorado is they send you a 2-month temporary card, insurance card, and then they turn it into a permanent one. So when I inputted that into the Tesla app, it spat it out saying, when you pick up your car, your insurance is no longer valid for 2 months because I insured it on Friday and I was picking up the car on Monday. So they wanted 60 days, but I was giving them something like 57 days. And there was no way around that because that's how it works. So then I had to go through and call somebody at Tesla, which meant going through AI hell to finally get a real person to speak to on a Saturday. And they said, oh, there's a workaround. All you do is basically fake the date at which point the insurance expires. So even though the temporary insurance card said it expired at the end of February, I said it expired at the end of March. And apparently Tesla's AI didn't check what was written on the card and accepted it. So it was quite a stressful weekend. And then, of course, when I got to the Tesla dealership, well, we can keep going with the video from there. All right, we now officially have leased a Tesla Model Y dual motor because we're in Colorado because you want the all-wheel drive, and that process only took an hour. The people here are great. They were super nice, but the app, it is problematic, especially when you're trying to do it as a business. Right now, I'm just really excited to have the car and to start this video series. So we've done a lot of thinking about this because obviously the idea is to drive this at least 2,000 miles without ever touching the steering wheel, but there will be times when that won't work. For instance, when Tommy has it for a week, he lives up kind of a dirt road and his house is kind of in a funky location, and so it may not work. So there may be times when we'll actually have to drive the car, for instance, when we're doing a thumbnail. And so we have hooked up, or we will hook up, dash cam that both shoots to the front of the car and to the back of the car. So whenever we actually touch the wheel, you will know it, and we'll keep track of exactly how many of those first 2,000 miles the car did not drive itself. And Zach, actually, in my office, picked out the car, and I didn't know this, but he got a white interior, which actually makes me really happy, because a lot of you guys are thinking to yourself, this is going to get super dirty. But we have had a white interior before, and the nice thing about the white is, even though it does tend to get blue from my big blue jean butt, it does wipe off really easily. And of course, since our last Model Y performance, Tesla has made a lot of improvements to this car, and so this should be a much better car. So we will do a full review of this as soon as we have it back to the office, and that full review will be done using self-driving, of course. Now, I'm hoping that out of the next 2,000 miles that we put in on this car, and by the way, it has 3 miles of delivery miles, that we'll be able to drive. I'm going to shoot high. I'm going to go with 99% self-driving. The reason for the 99% is I just went through a really painful year. My mother passed away, and my stepfather, who's 93, had gotten into several accidents with his car, and we were about to have that very difficult conversation about taking the keys away from him. And I think that a 93-year-old versus a computer, when driving, the computer will do a better job. So this may be a great solution for all of you folk who have older parents who are getting to that age where they're potentially going to lose their freedom by losing the ability to drive. So I think this may be one of the solutions. The other solution, of course, is for people like me who love to drive, there are times when I don't want to drive. I come back from an international trip reviewing something, and I get in the car and I just want to go home, and I don't necessarily want to have the pressure of being jet lagged and driving. In that condition, I think full self-driving is also a good solution. And then there's a friend that James has who bought the car and just doesn't like driving, wants to have the car drive. So we're going to see if full self-driving supervised, at least the newest version, works for all 3 of those occasions. All right, I've talked enough. I think it's time we hit the road and then get this thing geared up so we can start hands-free 2000. All right, first drive of the brand new Tesla Model Y. And if you're wondering, this car has 3 miles, like I said, and they gave it to me with 74% of the charge. So just like our old Cybertruck, to put into drive, you just kind of swipe up on the little bar. And a lot of people don't like that feature. They like to have a real metal lever, or do you say lever, to connect them. I don't actually mind it. I kind of got used to it, especially the predictive form where if you're parked in front of a building or parked in front of another car, it knows that you're going to have to reverse, like say out of your garage, and that's always a nice feature. So this is, I'm hoping, the first and last time that I'm going to be driving this car. So if all goes well, I won't touch the steering wheel for another 2,000 miles. But before we do that, we of course have to get everything set up, have to get full self-driving set up, have to get premium connectivity set up, all that sort of stuff before this will actually work. And I have to say, compared to the old Model Y, this is this is much more tidy. I think that's a good word. Much more tidy. The car feels a little bit better put together. I think Tesla has come a long way in the way they build cars. Our Cybertruck was not put together. All right, apparently I do have full self-driving because it just said tap to activate it. And so I have activated it. And let's, while it's driving itself, let's talk about numbers. So Colorado has a tax credit that is expiring at the end of this year, which is in 2 days, that a lot of people are taking advantage of. I think it's about $3,800 for electric cars that you can apply to a lease. So that's why Tesla is so busy, or was so busy. So basically, this car leased for a grand total of $421 per month, plus $1,525 acquisition fee, which I think includes your first month's payment. Then the other fees that are going to be associated with this are full self-driving. As a subscription is $99 a month, or $8,000 if you buy it. We're going to not buy it, I don't think. I think we're just going to subscribe to it, especially since we have a 2-year lease that gives us only 10,000. Oh, there's a car behind me, but the car did well. Only 10,000 miles, which is plenty for our purposes a year. And then there's also premium connectivity, so we can use Grok, the AI, and that's, I think if you pay for the year, it's $99. So that's going to get added. And then, of course, there are any fees and taxes that are associated with it. So far, the car is doing really well. There's a truck over here, and if we had the dash cam going, you could see what I'm doing. And I think this actually has a camera as well. And if you honk the horn, if I remember right, it actually captures that moment. And then you could have it for any insurance claims that you might have. But let's talk about the numbers. So we're $421 plus $99 a month, which puts us at $520. Insurance was actually relatively affordable, $125. So that's $645 excluding any license plates that we need to add and do for this. So about $650, give or take, a month to have a car that drives itself, and that is a relatively affordable lease. And the best part of full self-driving, especially for me, is like right now, afternoon traffic in Denver. And let's face it, as much as I love to drive, I certainly don't love to drive in traffic. And this is when full self-driving supervised really shines, because now I'm not stressed, I'm having the car do everything for me. And as much as I love to drive, I don't know anybody who loves to drive in traffic. So, of course, if you're on Angeles Crest, that may not be the greatest time for FSD, but, here, rush hour traffic, it's really sweet. The question, of course, is how often does it kind of make a mistake? And what I mean by that is the Cybertruck had full self-driving, and we used it, but there was always a moment in time where it was great until it wasn't. And those until it wasn't moments came not too regularly, but enough where you'd be really worried if you hadn't grabbed the wheel. I remember once I was having the truck drive back to the office, and I was making a left turn, and there was a car that was waiting for me to make the left turn, and the Cybertruck just turned directly into that car, and I would have hit him if I had not taken control. So my question with FSD, at least the latest version, which I'm assuming this has, since it's factory fresh, is how many of those until it isn't moments do we get? How often does this actually work so that I can not stress about whether we are going to be safe or not? All right, so I got one hand free. I got the other hand holding my phone so you can see what it's doing. And the first thing I noticed, which I learned, which the Cybertruck didn't have, is that there are different modes for full self-driving. Everything from sloth, which I was in initially, to standard, which I'm in now, to hurry, which is, pretty cool that you can choose how aggressive you want the car to drive. I always applaud Tesla for trying things like that, you know, just using logical things and kind of duplicating the way that I would want to drive. I think they're really good at that. Now I'm almost at the destination at this car auction, so I'm curious to see what happens. It's signaling to turn right, and let's see if it pulls in here, and let's see where it parks. I'm going to be ready to grab the wheel. It's pulling into the auction. There's people standing here, and let's see where it takes me. So it pulled in, and it's still going. The road is pretty bad here. There's a big pothole. It says I've arrived at my destination. Let's see where it stops. Oh, look at that. It's even turning in over here. And let's see if it parks or if it just stops. It sees all the cars, which is great. Look at that. It took me right to the front door. Oh, now it's going to go. It's making a really tight turn here, almost at the motorcycle. And is it going to stop? Right next to the tow truck. How appropriate. Oh, it's backing up. I don't know what it's backing up into. It's backing up into a bathroom, which is not good. It's trying to park. Okay, it backed up to the bathroom. How appropriate. Oh my God. The first time, or it's a little office, maybe it's not a bathroom. It's a little office back there, a mobile office. But I'm impressed. Look, the car got me here. Nobody died. And this is going to be an interesting 2,000 miles of hands-free driving. All right, next time we're going to hook this car up with all of the technology so you can see everything that's happening, so I don't have to hold the camera. So come back next week when we officially start Hands-Free 2000, and let me know in the comments below what you want to see. Do you want to see it driving in the snow? Do you want to see it going up mountain passes? Because we plan to do all that, but if there's something else that you're specifically interested about that we're not covering, love to get your information on that. And of course, head on over to alltfl.com for more news, views, and Tesla FSD supervised full self-driving reviews. See you next time. Ciao. I found out two really cool things about the Tesla on the drive back to the office. Now, you may be thinking to yourself, as a professional journalist, Roman, you should know this stuff ahead of time. But you know, technology changes, we review all cars, so we're kind of discovering this along the way. First and foremost, we got 1 month free full self-driving and premium connectivity. So it's good until the end of January, so that's why I was able to use full self-driving to drive to the office. But more importantly, let me show you something on the inside of the car. Remember I said the hope here is to have this car go 99% of the time and drive itself? Well, when you go over here into autopilot, it actually tells you what percentage has been on self-driving since version 14.1. So self-driving miles 34.7, total miles 36.1, which equals 96% full self-driving. So hopefully as we drive more, that percentage will go up because of the fact that we'll be driving more on full self-driving than without it. So 99%, that's the goal at the end of Hands-Free 2000. Can't wait.